Time again to answer more of your email questions, and the first one up today is from Harleen in the Sierra Nevadas, and she just recently purchased an HP laptop with Windows Vista, and she hates it. She's taken it back. She's going to get a Mac laptop, which I think is a fine choice, and she's wondering what does she need to look for in a Mac laptop. There's basically three different Mac laptops. The number one is the MacBook, number two is the MacBook Pro, and three is the MacBook Air. Almost forgot the name. If you're doing email, internet, digital photography, and word processing, and just some things like that, the MacBook is going to be more than ample for 95% of computer users out there. And it's going to be the most affordable. There's three versions of it. One of them just has a little bit more memory and more hard drive space than the next, and then there's a little faster processor, I think, in the fastest MacBook. The MacBook Pro elevates everything just a little bit. Faster processor, more hard drive space, but most importantly, more video capability. So if you're doing a lot of video editing, and I'm talking a lot of video editing, or you need to do a lot of gaming, things like that, where you need high graphics, then that would be the way to go, is the MacBook Pro. But most people aren't doing that kind of stuff, and so unless you have specific needs for that, stay with the MacBook. And the last one I mentioned was the MacBook Air. Very thin. You probably saw the commercials with the little manila envelope. The MacBook Air, I think, is kind of a novelty. You don't have the DVD multi-drive in it to burn in CDs or DVDs, and a few other little things, battery life, that isn't quite as good as the MacBooks or the MacBook Pros. I would look at the MacBook or the MacBook Pro. Christina wrote to us last week from Manitoba, Canada, and she had a question about Word 2007 macros, and she's still having trouble. She says she's gone through the steps, she can save her macro, but as soon as she exits Word and comes back to it, the macro is gone. If you've tried the steps I've outlined for you to get it to be saved, there could be something else wrong with your Microsoft Word. You may want to reinstall it, because I've tried it on two different machines, and it should work for you just as planned and just the way we laid it out. And if you can't get it to work after reinstalling, there's probably something else going on in your computer, and you may at that point want to give Microsoft a call or get someone to sit down with you and look at the system and how it's set up. Here's an email from another disgruntled AVG user. AVG's had problems, there's no doubt about it, since this summer, really, with their new 8.0 version, and particularly their updates. But I think the biggest problem for all you folks out there, including Sage, that are using AVG, the biggest problem has been is that they've grown too fast, and they can't handle the server load that's happening on their end, and so they can't push these updates to us fast enough. And some of the errors we're getting is just simply a communication error between our computers and their computers, but it's nothing for us to worry about. Your AVG is protecting you. It is being updated. It gets updated sometimes multiple times per day. If you're having trouble with it staying updated, the best thing to do is maybe try getting an update manually early in the morning or late in the evening when their servers are less busy, and see if that can get you help. But the bottom line is, don't panic. It's still a good product. It's still protecting you. Herb writes in and he's having a little trouble with Outlook 2007, hanging up and having to close it out when he tries to open any messages. Doesn't seem to be any pattern, he says, to either the size or whether it has an attachment or anything like that. He's wondering what can he do to prevent it. I think first thing I would do, Herb, is go into Help and then Detect and Repair under Outlook 2007 and see if you can get whatever might be going wrong repaired on it. The other thing is check the Microsoft website for any updates to Outlook and Office 2007. That may be an issue as well. But in the long run, I'm going to have to agree with you that I gave up Outlook 2007 and I went strictly to Gmail, and I could not be happier. And I think that if people give Gmail a chance, you're going to find it's a far superior email service to any other out there at this moment, and you can use your existing email address in most cases. Crystal is having a problem with the AVG upgrade from 7.5 to 8.0. Go to my website, go to helpmerick.com, search for AVG 8, and I have a whole video there on how to do the upgrade. Follow those steps exactly. Use the link on my website to get the proper download from AVG, and you shouldn't have any problems. Marion writes that she's using a Linksys adapter with her Verizon DSL service, and she's having some problems with it shutting off on her from time to time, and she can't figure out what's going on. The connection on the wireless is still there. You may not have the settings set properly in your router. So you need to go through the process of making sure all those things are matched correctly, because you'll still have a signal from the router, but you may not get the internet connection because of that communication problem there. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, you may need to call Verizon and or Linksys, or get someone out to come sit with you and look at that problem. That's a hard one to discuss via email. Marianne has an interesting question about opening PowerPoint in her email. She can't get some PowerPoint files to open. She's able to create presentations and all is fine, and she's emailed them to herself, but she still gets the same error. And she's wondering what's going on and wondering if there's anything to do with Firefox 3. Nothing to do with Firefox 3, since Firefox 3 does not do email. Firefox 3 is just your web browser. But for your email situation, I have a feeling what's happening is the Windows Mail, if you're using Vista and Windows Mail, isn't making the proper connection between the file type and the program needed to open up the file type, in your case PowerPoint. I do have a fix for it for Outlook Express, but I'm not sure if it works on Vista. And if you just look up PowerPoint email on my website, you'll find that fix, but it may not work in Vista. The other thing I can recommend is that in this case, and in a lot of cases with PowerPoint shows and PowerPoint files, the best thing to do is just not double click on it from your email, but instead save it to your desktop, minimize your email, and open it from your desktop, and you won't have any problems. Donna is asking about all of the multiple downloads and updates that come from Adobe Flash, Adobe Acrobat, Java, iTunes, etc. She's wondering if they're taking up too much memory and can she delete them. You can delete the installation files. If you see the little icon on your desktop that indicates it's an installation file, and Donna, those icons typically look like this, either this icon here, and you can say I have 4 of those, or this is another common installation type icon, or this one here, or if it's a zip file, potentially something like that. So if they look anything like this and you've installed them, yes, by all means you can delete them. Otherwise, the best way to get rid of those kinds of programs, go to add and remove programs, make sure that it's not listed multiple times there. But usually after you install it, the program itself will overwrite the old version and the old version will be gone. We have another Donna question. This one is about Microsoft Outlook email. She was watching my video on my website on how to back up Outlook Express, is what I think you were watching, Donna. So close your Outlook and then look for the file outlook.pst. And when you find that file, you back that one file up, and that is all of your email, all of your contacts, all of your calendar. Everything in Microsoft Outlook is in that single file. Chris is having trouble with her Toshiba laptop and the sound and not being loud enough on her laptop. And what you need to do, Chris, is you check the side volume, the physical volume, which Toshiba has one on the side, and that seemed to be okay. The other thing you want to do is double click on the speaker, the little speaker icon down by your clock in the lower right hand corner by your clock, and when you click on that, make sure all the volumes are up on it as well. And if that is all up and the one on the side of your Toshiba laptop is up, then it could be just that the speakers are starting to fail on you, and if it's something you need to have the sound all the time, you might have to buy a little external pair of speakers to use with the laptop because it's too expensive to get that kind of thing fixed. Barbara received a tip from a friend about using the Google 411 service for getting free directory assistance from her cell phone, and you can use it from any phone actually, and that phone number, she lost it, is 1-800-466-4411, which is Goog 411. Or if you like to use text messaging, you can text to 46645, and that will also get you an immediate response from Google as well. You can text things like movies in my area code or something like that, and you'll be able to get results that way. The last question of the day is from Rosie, who can't get her screensaver settings to set. She's trying to change her screensaver, but it always goes back to the Microsoft XP screensaver, and she's wondering, can I help her? Unfortunately, in this kind of a case, as long as you're changing the screensaver and you click apply before you click OK, there's nothing else I can help you with. You're going to have someone else to help you and look at that computer. The reason why is the only thing I can think is you may be changing it and then clicking the X in the upper right hand corner. And when you click the X after you make a dialog change like you're trying to do in the screensaver, that will cancel the setting you tried to make. So make sure you change the setting to what you want it to be, click apply and then OK, and then see what happens after that. So thanks everyone for writing this week, and we'll be back again next week with more of your questions.